Over a year, I knew my relationship needed to end. I left a handful of times, he left twice, but we always got back together. My brain could clearly see the dysfunction, but my heart loved him more than I loved myself. So I chose to ignore my gut for a very, very, very long time. Our biggest issues were communication, anger. Wait. So sorry to OP, but we were compatible. Oh, I feel so bad. Our biggest issues were communication, anger, emotion regulation, invalidation, avoidance, and sex.
I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
I don't mean to question compatibility,
Right.
but I think you've just said everything about your compatibility is bad. What is up, everybody?
What the fuck?
We're gonna lighten the mood a little bit, alright?
Yeah, sure.
This is gonna be quite a heavy episode because this is gonna be the second time we're gonna do. I wouldn't say second time, but like I think this is gonna be a reoccurring thing where like we go to Reddit, ask stories, and like share some stories. So I went on Reddit and asked them what's a breakup you knew had to happen. There are a lot of people who go through relationships where it's like something feels off. You know, you sort of have to break it off, but you don't want to. Or you feel like they can still change or something like that. And like, I think I told you before, right? Like just talking about it or writing it down is like, it makes so much more sense. But when you're actually in it, then it's a lot harder to like, because you see the emotions and all that kind of shit. So, so there's going to be round 2, all right? This was 10 days ago. We had 130 comments. I told Udi, I have no idea how the fuck am I going to make this video. But as much as he said, do 2 parts, we'll see how it goes. Because it is quite a lot, but we'll start sharing some stories for you guys. And again, before we start an episode, I always say this: any flaws out of this episode will be coming from us. We are flawed human beings, and we are no way experts in relationships. And also, any good will be coming from God. He knows best. And I hope you guys at least feel lighter after the episode, or if we have at least given you some good advice, then I hope it helps, right? Or at least some laughter, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to the first one. Yeah. So the story goes, I ended the relationship with him last month. It all started when I lied to him one day while waiting for him to come home. I took a detour and treated myself with some quick pampering and food. The lie wasn't intentional. I got scared of his reactions. Alright, and I didn't have any bad motives for not telling him for where I was at the time. Unfortunately, he let his intrusive thoughts win and assumed I might be cheating on him because I had admitted to going out alone frequently. Although it wasn't meant to be a major issue, he had been through bad experiences with people who had cheated in the past, including his wife, dad, brother-in-law. Instead of talking about it, he imposed punishments on me, requiring me to report my locations to him. Otherwise, he wouldn't speak to me and threatened to break up. I wanted things to work out for us, so I did what he wanted. However, what really bothered me when he asked if he could request a threesome as a way to resolve the trust issues. What men, bro? Like sometimes we were just stupid like that. I expected him to understand and that I didn't intentionally break his trust, that I had been loyal the entire time. When trust is broken, a breakup is necessary to reassess the relationship. Even now, I still feel the pain of the breakup. But it's through this pain we can learn how to navigate relationships. Oh, there's so many things to like unpack within this one story, right? But let me see what I replied with it first. I replied with, I'm glad you understand that the pain is a way for you to navigate your next relationship. Some people just go on to the next hoping it will work in all flowers and sunshine. So give yourself credit first. Also, with this situation of yours, I'm assuming it was tough. It was definitely small issues that led to bigger ones, and you were finally scared of his reactions. Everything seems fixable in retrospect and by text, but I can only assume it was tougher in real life. Yeah. I wish you two the best for the future and walk yourself slowly with a better life as time goes on. All love. Yeah, dude. I mean, because the question is like, I know she's scared of a person's reaction. I think a lot of, not a girl-guy problem, but like, there's a lot of times where like in a relationship, if someone shuts you down, that you don't want to bring that conversation in again, right? But I don't know, it's definitely both. I can't speak for one person. It's definitely both, right? Like it feels like it's both because like one doesn't want to share where she's going, and then one is like, no, I can't. Like I have to know where you're going. And then add on to the fact that this guy has like his ex-wife cheated on him, and then his dad maybe cheated on his mother, and then brother-in-law cheated also. Like the trust game is just
Yeah,
gone, bro.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like I can speak for someone who likes having like their alone time a lot.
Yeah.
Like even in a relationship, I do need some like I do enjoy just going out by myself
Yeah.
and just having some alone time doing what I want to do.
It's definitely a little bit of both, right? Because I feel like I feel like now she wrote it in text. I think if I was in the situation, I will also be like that. But writing it down on text, it seems like this paradox is never going to be solved because one wants alone time, but then the other one has had history that like he can't change.
Yeah.
As of right now, he hasn't like addressed it.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things where like that's why I'm like quite cautious with what a long-term relationship is, because it's not just about like I don't mind being in a relationship now with another person, but it's also like have I learned to move past this like people cheating. It may not even be about his ex-wife, but then now it's like his dad. Like people always cheating. And then now you're gonna bring this insecurity plus baggage on this next person, and then it just keeps going on and on and on and on. Yeah. There's no solution. I think I mean we're not looking for any solutions, but it's more like I empathize with the situation, and like both of you are not wrong. It's just unfortunately not meant to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I will I will say this though. The threesome request for the trust resolution, like
I don't know how
like,
that brings up like trust. How
I think bro honestly I think bro was just
trying to win something out of the situation.
Yeah. I don't think that threesome had anything to do with the fact that it would resolve trust issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. But the more you learn, right, like trust is such a hard thing to gain, but the only way to like fix this kind of thing is like really setting a new relationship. It's like literally like how do you restart a relationship with the same person and like the same face, you know? Yeah. So man, I wish you all the best, and give yourself credit and grace and much praise for you. Right, let's go to the next story, man. We had a beautiful relationship, the type that one would crave for. Love I didn't know existed, brother. We were together for a while and wanted the same things in life. Oh, man. When you want the same things in life, bro, even my best friends, I don't think many of my best friends, we want the same things in life. So like, that's hard to find. In the last month of our relationship, unfortunately, he had crossed boundaries and was lying to cover crossing these boundaries for a long time. When I found out, I forgave him. Great. And he went to therapy. Perfect. To understand why he did what he did. He decided to go for himself and because it was concerning behavior. But I needed to rebuild my trust and self-esteem after what he had done. Sounds good so far. I found myself losing it and never trusting him. Okay, never mind. He would reassure me. He eventually withdrew from the relationship and avoided me. I wanted to work on it with him, but he wasn't willing. I forgave him, but he didn't want to hold himself accountable. Or rather, he couldn't. He hated himself, felt so ashamed he could only remove himself and better himself as a person without dragging me with him. He knew I deserved better than to love someone unconditionally who would hurt me and not show up for me when I would always show up for him. I fought for us for those last weeks. No, let me stop there for a little bit. Both of you fought for each other. All right? Like, we've read the story. Both of you fought for each other. But he was also in a dark space, and I knew I'd rather see him okay than be with me. I'm still picking up the pieces as his disrespect towards these boundaries brought up a lot of traumas in you, in this person. Yeah, look, fair game, man. Like, I feel like reading this story is both of them did the job, you know? Like, one went to therapy, both tried, but both couldn't let go, and that's perfectly fine. But I think what I'm learning with a lot of different podcasts and stuff, it's accepting things as reality. And the reality is both of you tried and it just did not work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said time definitely does heal. Let's not forget to work and reflect on the things that has happened. because as humans, funnily enough, we forget certain pains and just go on to the next relationships and just making the same mistakes and repeat our behaviors. But I think can we talk about this, because we have a lot of influence with like Friends, you know, like the TV show Friends, not Friends, where like taking a break equals broken up, you know. But I feel like when people have, or even me, right, we have such a idea that if the true love is meant to be, it will always be there. Fuck that. Like, there will be moments where like you are in your all-time lows. This is what I said to you, right? If you want true love, then true love comes with true sadness, true happiness, true pain. Everything comes together, right? If you have the most amount of happiness with this one person, there will be a day where they make a mistake or you make a mistake, and then both of you are going to crumble down. Then the question is, how do you fix that, right? I'm not saying anything is fixable. Like, love actually has structure as well. Like, when you first start that love, or like, I don't even call it love, to be honest. If you meet someone and then you're like, oh my God, I love you, I think that feeling is more like a strong infatuation.
Yeah.
It is love, but it is essentially infatuation, right?
Yeah, it's not love.
Yeah, exactly. To me, the definition of love is like, what is your end goal with this person, right? And can you actually work on this end goal? Look, I've been there. Like, as much as I love my relationship, but you also have to answer the question of like, okay, I want a long-term relationship with this person, right? Realistically, let's say this guy is a drug addict, right? I love this guy to death, but down the line, as we have kids, as we build a house, as we meet each other's family, is him being a drug addict or an alcoholic something that you can just let go and love? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a practicality to like we have to break this or do something about it, right? So when I see these kind of situations, I feel like the question is, what is our end goal with this, right? So I feel like for this couple, or like, things already happened. They already broke up, so I can't fix this, right? But like, I think down the line, if these kind of things happen to me, it would be like, okay, we have to take some time off and like really, really take time off, and maybe like 90 days, contact each other, see what happens. Like, you have to like actually sit down with your partner and be like, we'll take 90 days off to completely see life without each other, and then come back and then see how it can work out again. One story that I've been hearing about from Stephen Bartlett, which is the podcast host of Diary of a CEO. I've also been reading his book, Diary of a CEO. Shout out. He was with his girlfriend for like a year, right? And you know what his girlfriend said to him? I want to know what's your reaction, right? So the story is this. He's been with his girlfriend for a year, and he's a CEO. Healthy, amazing, good-looking man. They have a great love life. They're long distance sometimes. But one day she came up to him and said, I don't like sex with you. After a year. At 25, 26, a man, bro. And after a year with your girl, where like, I'm assuming they've had amazing sex as well, right? And she says, I don't like sex with you. This guy lost it, bro. This is a CEO, right? He lost it and he broke off the relationship. Man broke off the relationship, and they sort of seen each other like here and there for like, they didn't physically meet, but had like the typical Instagram contact, that kind of thing, for like a year, but they didn't like contact.
Right.
But throughout that whole year, I think he definitely reflected as to like what that meant, and studied about this whole situation. And this girl ended up in Bali because she couldn't find a job or something, and then she was doing some other stuff in Bali, right? So while she was in Bali, after a whole year, right, they didn't do anything for a whole year. Something within him, after like, I'm assuming dating other girls and like all these kind of things, he was like, nah, I couldn't find a love like that. Like, she was something. There was like a connection there. And he flew over to Bali, not with the intention of getting her back, but rather the intention of like, oh shit, the way we ended was bad, and I want to at least own up to that and be a man of my word. And then they were already in Bali. He tried to like talk to her, but they were always distant for like 2-3 weeks. And nearing the end of the trip, after he finally like told her everything, and she just said like, I appreciate it, but I've also been sleeping with another guy. Which is fair enough, like it's been a year, right? It's been a year already. So by the end of it, he was like, cool, we're good. I said everything I needed. I can just end it off there. I'm gonna be the man. Like, I'm gonna be the man and just go home. But she said, I wanna see you one last time. And his ego at that point was like, no, be the cool dude, man. Be the man and like just walk off, be cool. Like, I don't need this shit in my life. But something told him like, drop that ego, just see her one last time. You know, nothing's gonna be destroyed. But because he did let his ego down and meet her one last time, something about that last few days, they reconnected again, and everything just rekindled and sparked again. And now after like 2-3 years, he's like 100% assured like she's gonna be his wife, and they're back together. Yeah. There's definitely quite a few details that I'm missing out, but all I'm saying is it definitely takes a lot between two people to actually work on their mistakes. And it takes a lot out of a man to drop their ego as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's not forget, it took a whole year, right? That whole year was... I feel like when you hear these kind of stories, it's like everything just feels fast, but it took a whole year, right? A whole year of him being like...
that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
That is a lot of time, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah. I mean, if a relationship can outstand someone saying, I don't like sex with you, but I think the question is just whether a person can work on it.
Yeah, I think as for like this, just a quick chime in for like this specific one.
Let's go.
They both tried to work on it. They both did their best, and there was clearly a lot of love there, you know. But as life goes, sometimes it's just not meant to be. It just doesn't work out.
All right, next story, man. Story number 3. I'm extremely grateful to my ex for breaking up with me. Damn, let's go. Throughout our entire relationship, I was the one making all the effort, and I was the one loving enough for the two of us. This quote-unquote man showed me time and time again that he didn't care about me. Whether it be through his emotional abuse or how he neglected me, he got mad and defensive whenever I tried to mention how he hurt me. Because somehow it's always my fault for overreacting, for feeling this wrong way, for not being able to take a joke. I was willing to do anything for him. We had been on a break once because he told me he didn't want to try for me, but he didn't want to give up. I threw away all self-respect and just tried to fix our relationship and convince this man that he shouldn't give up on me. I moved over 1,000 miles away from my family to be with him after he moved for work. When we moved in together, everything I had gone through before just got worse. Everything was my fault. I was too needy for wanting to go on dates or wanting to hear that he loved me. I was ruining a good day if he hurt my feelings. I was never a priority. Despite all this, I kept trying to fix and change myself. Because of course something has to be wrong with me. If something is wrong with me, I can fix it and make the relationship work. He cheated on me. Man.
You know.
Can we stop there for a little bit? It's such a weird thing that I've been realizing, like, I am not justifying cheating. Cheating is wrong. Fuck you who cheats, all right? But what I've realized with a lot of cheaters, usually the dynamic of the relationship is like, ironically enough, someone who's people-pleasing, right? Because they're so people-pleasing that the other person feel like they can do anything and get away with it. But for the people who are people-pleasing, they don't understand the fact that if you set your boundaries straight to this man, that's actually the way for him to not cheat. But it can be scary, right? Because when you set that boundary, then either he flares up and then you get scared, or the relationship might be broken, which both outcomes are indicators that you should leave the relationship, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
So... yeah, it's something that I just realized. So, and then he broke up with me right before my birthday and then jumped right into another relationship. I remember crying alone on my birthday because I was in the whole other place without my family. This person who I had poured my whole heart and soul into truly never cared for or loved me. It's an extremely hard pill to swallow, but I'm so grateful. This had to happen because I had to learn. I mean, the fact that you even know that you had to learn from it is amazing. This happened a few months ago, so I'm still working through it. However, I know the issues was with him. Great. He was never going to be able to love me or anyone else in that matter properly. What he did highlighted how truly awful he is and that I am worth so much more. After 4 years of abuse, I realized that the only person whose love I truly need is my own. I would have let myself stay in that miserable relationship for so long because I was scared of being alone. Because I was used to the comfort of him, the comfort of walking on eggshells in my own home and asking for permission for anything I do. It's so liberating to be able to dance in my living room and not be afraid. I'm working on loving myself so the next time someone likes me comes along, I can be brave enough to leave, to say no, and to stand by my boundaries.
Bruh, I love it, man. She literally said everything.
Yeah, like she literally found the answer already.
Yeah,
so,
she got it.
Exactly. Because look, as someone who doesn't know how to give myself credit sometimes, I think a lot of us don't. Give yourself credit, because a lot of people, when these kind of things happen, I think the natural instinct would be like, when someone else comes, then it's like, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
Let's just go for it again. This feels good again. And especially, like, I can't blame girls, man, because like usually guys are the chasers, right? And then if you're attractive, then like guys keep chasing you once you're single. How do you say no to that? You know? Like, logically speaking, if girls keep coming up to me after I break up, bro, like, I don't even know if I would be able to say no that many times.
Yeah, I mean, that's the... That's it, right? Especially when you're like starting a relationship. There's so much good and so little bad. Bro. There's so much. Like, the ratio is like so skewed in greatness and bliss that you forget that down the line you're gonna have to go through the bad shit as well.
Because even if you're going through shit and then the guy's like already trying to win you and like chase you, right? And then you're like, no, I'm heartbroken and everything. And then the guy's just there like, oh yeah, I got you, baby.
I'll take care of you. Don't even
stress, bro. And then after that, they tell the other guys like, bro, she's heartbroken. I'm saving her, bro.
Oh my God.
And then I saw this on Instagram where it's sort of like that to all the guys who went for that girl who said, you saved my life, or no one has treated me better than you have. And then all the comments were like, yeah, she left. Oh boys, let's get her back together. Let's go back to the gym. And it's so true, man. It's like, I think it's that innate nature in guys, like when we feel like, that's how we get validated, right? I think humans as well, is like when we feel like we saved someone, right? Then it feels like, oh, I'm the special one. But the reality is that person hasn't healed themselves. And once they're healed, that's the point when they see you for who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
Because as of this moment, and I think that's why like I've also been quite attentive with my emotions right now, because like if we just look at it from life's point of view, from life's point of view, when you're heartbroken and then another dude comes up and listens to you for like 2 months, 3 months, and then naturally you guys fall in love or whatever it is, there comes a time where like after a few months, then like when you are healed, quote unquote healed, right, or feeling better at that point, then you actually get to see this guy or girl for who they are, without that like savior mindset.
Because even during that mindset, right, they're also like they're constantly like looking like after you, right, and trying to quote unquote heal you, right? But then, like, let's say after you're healed, they're no longer going to be 24/7 caring for you or trying to heal you, right?
Yeah.
So it's like now they are no longer, they don't have to be that same person, right? So then they become more of themselves, like how they normally are, and that's when it changes.
Bro, it's so crazy when we like actually say it in words, because like I feel like I've been living my life just the way it is, but if I don't learn about these things, right, it just feels like you're living life, which is not a good or bad thing. It's just, I think if you have the realization, then you're like, you can actually save yourself.
Yeah.
Because all these things are like sort of short-term comfort, I guess. You know, it can be something amazing down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like,
it can be.
If
it's whether you're able to. Then it goes to what I said, right? Like at the end of the day, it's not about just the love that you have. It's whether both of you are willing to work for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because a person in a relationship, right? If your significant other has some traumas and needs healing, right? As a person, they need to work on themselves. Your job isn't only to just fix them. Role is more to guide them.
Yeah.
It's more to help them realize what they can do to
Yeah.
fix themselves.
After you already like have a basis of a relationship, then you both of you actually like list down the boundaries and actually like work on it and actually write it down and everything. It seems like it's too
Seems like it's
systematic,
too systematic,
but it's
too
actually
structured.
good for your long term.
Yeah, exactly.
The fairy tale love comes with
Yeah, exactly.
planning,
With the planning,
you know?
yeah. You can still...
I tell people the same thing, like whatever that you're building, right? If you're building a relationship, a business, or whatever it is, right? There has to be a level of planning. There has to be a level of planning. It just doesn't like, let's just go with the flow and just, if we're doing this podcast, we don't just like, oh, let's just go with the flow. Like we have to plan shit, you know? Yeah. So I guess that's going to be the main theme of this episode is love isn't flowy, bruh. Like love is structure, right? It's also that, how do you let go of anxiety and how do you feel like you won't procrastinate through your day or feel like you're not wasting your day? If we go with the flow of the day, or for example, I think the best example would be when we go on vacation, or let's just see where it goes. Funnily enough, the best thing you can do for a vacation is actually have a structure, but don't have to go exactly according to the time. But let's say like today we're going to have breakfast, do this, do that. But if you go on a vacation, I'm sure all of you have been on a vacation with your family or friend where there was no plan and you realize that was the worst vacation. That is the worst vacation. There has to be a level of like tomorrow what we're going to do and stuff. Same goes with the relationship, bro. I'm at 26, then now I'm finally learning like I need to plan this shit. It can't just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to spend a year with her and then like, oh, do you want to move in or do you want to get married? Like it doesn't work that way. Like there's planning.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah. You can't be like flowy, but you also can't just have like a
correct.
This is what we're gonna do. Here,
Exactly.
Here,
It's the balance.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the balance.
There's a very
of
important
everything,
balance.
brother.
Exactly.
It's what we say about everything in life, right? When we go work out, there's also a balance of the diet. It's the balance.
Exactly.
Even after we do this podcast, it's like we have to get out there, experience life, and then we talk about this. We need balance. We need more stories in our life. So speaking of balance and like just going with the flow, right? I'll quickly read through 3 short stories that I didn't reply to, but this is basically what's going to happen if you just go with the flow. I just realized as you were talking about it, this is exactly what it is. My first girlfriend and I were together for a pretty long time. At first, things were magical like relationships so often were when we were young. But over time, we grew and changed a lot and started to grow apart. My ex couldn't handle it, and I was going through issues with anxiety. To be fair, I really let myself go, and it was a long journey back to normalcy. All right. The minute I stopped being the best, she decided it was over already. Just like that, after a decade, in the end, it was a good thing. I was stuck in that relationship, and I would have never left her. Even though ultimately we wanted different things in life, how loyal I was to her, I'd have set those things aside to help her pursue hers. Held back, then I didn't even know that those things were for me. If I could talk to her today, I'd actually think of cutting me loose. If I could talk to her today, I'd actually thank her for cutting me loose at all. I'm in a better place now. See, going with the flow. Next one. I was constantly anxious and realized things weren't getting better. Had been 5 years of the same problems over and over again. See what I mean? Like, if we actually sat down, it's not sexy at all, right? And
yeah, it's not.
It's not sexy at all. It doesn't feel like you should do this as a couple as well, right? You're like, oh, babe, let's just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see how it goes. Like, I've learned like that's actually a bad thing. All right, that's actually a really bad thing. And I begged for the last time, then I just kind of went numb for a while. 5 years, man. 5 years. Sorry for that person. Next one happened about 2 weeks ago. For quite some time, I felt like in my gut, I liked him more than he liked me, which is fine. But the day before the breakup, he confirmed this feeling when I confronted him about it. Why he had become so suddenly distant from me. He also didn't think our relationship was serious enough for him to imagine a future with me in it. And that he felt weird because I was too affectionate. and he felt bad about not being able to reciprocate my feelings for him. Yeah, bro. Because trust me, I'm saying all these things not because I'm like looking down on anyone. It's because I've made the exact same mistake of like going into a relationship where like, oh, this feels fucking good. Even my last like date that I went on Hinge was like, I knew, not even from the date, I knew from the way we texted, I was like, why am I even trying to meet this person? But it's not because like I was desperate or whatever, but it's because I just didn't know these things, you know? Like if certain things don't feel right, I think the first question, or like you can go on 1-2 dates, right, to actually meet the person and see how it goes. But I realized like, why am I even forcing this shit? Like this isn't even gonna work long term.
Yeah.
So yeah, structure, man, structure. All right, I think this one's what I said for this story. This next story is, this is the most mature breakup yet the most confusing breakup I've ever seen in my life. So we have to talk about it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Bismillah. I recently ended a year-long relationship due to long-term misalignment. He wanted kids, and I've had a high hysterectomy.
Yeah, that's the
What does that mean?
removal of the uterus.
Okay. Plus, I ended up wanting more closeness/intimacy than he could offer. Neither of us wanted to end it because we were both quite content, but we didn't want it to drag to the point that one/both of us became resentful about being unfulfilled. He let me pick the end date. Talk about structure, bro. Like they have an end date, you know? He wasn't in a hurry to end things. It took a handful of months for me to finally pick a date. The week before our last scheduled hangout, he told me not to sound bad, but I think you like me a little more than I like you. And you deserve someone who wants you as much as you want them. That definitely stung a bit. My therapist thinks he said it to push me away. That ended up being the last time we hung out. I was so overwhelmed with work and leaving for vacation the next day that I cancelled our last scheduled hangout on July 2. I also didn't think I could handle the sadness of saying goodbye and didn't want to fall apart/sob in front of him. My cancelling plans sent him into a spiral, he said. His thoughts and emotions were everywhere, and he was dealing with a big internal battle. This confused me based on his apparent detachment/stoicism. Damn, this guy Marcus Aurelius, yeah, this guy is stoic. I'd hope we could transition to a friendship. Fuck that, bro. Like, I don't know why. We should get a girl on this podcast to like talk about this friendship thing. But I feel like if you've already reached to a point of that level of intimacy, bro, how do you even become friends? That's insane. You know, unless you were friends before and you have a good, like literally like friends, right? Ross and Rachel, and you are in the same group. Yes, maybe. But if you're just a couple, you can't be friends, bro. Like, it's mad. That's actually mad. Since we didn't end things due to animosity, but he's been unwilling to see me and said he's trying to avoid thinking about what happened and is in isolation mode. Exactly. Our communication has been reduced to swapping IG memes and reels. He made a comment about a month ago via text about how I messaged him on IG instead of texting him as if we were strangers. That obviously struck a nerve. He texted me a photo with his new haircut and a month ago, and that was the last time he initiated texting. He also sent a screenshot that a friend had sent him of my Bumble profile. I thought I deactivated it. Turns out I just snoozed on it for a week. I deactivated it afterwards. He said it wasn't a big deal, but I think it bothered him more than he admitted. I asked him several weeks ago if he was angry with me, and he said he isn't. That it feels like he's upset and won't say no. I've not tried to initiate hanging out in a month. The last time he said he was still in isolation mode. I really miss him, especially the depth of our communication. I told him this 2 weeks ago and that I was trying to be respectful of his need for space. He said he appreciated it as he was still trying to navigate through this relationship through a storm. I'm not sure what he means. He speaks metaphors a lot. I mean, this guy's Marcus Aurelius, bro. This guy is like Lachlan, but I can only imagine our colleague Lachlan being like, babe, I'm trying to navigate this ship through the stormy seas and the water, and we never know where the wind's gonna bring us.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm not trying to initiate hanging out this month. The last time he said the isolation year, and this isn't how I envisioned/hoped it would go. We had such open, honest, and direct communication for a year, and now we're slightly more than strangers. Yeah, so what I said was, it's the most mature breakup, yet most confusing breakup I've ever seen. But I empathize and I have been there. Letting go is the hardest thing to do. And I still don't have my final answers to this, but I'm still learning about relationships, Yeah. What's your thoughts on this?
There is having kids is a big life choice. That's a big life decision, right? And in a long-term relationship, that's one of the things that you really need to be on the same page for. Even she says, but it feels like he's upset and won't say so. It's like even after the breakup, she's still that worried about his feelings,
Yeah, it's such a hard thing to accept because like in no way do you want to end something, but certain values are misaligned. And it's definitely reminding me to like have these values or vision mentioned quite early on. Because at the end of the day, people will change. And you never know what you're going to feel in future. So imagine if you're just falling in love from the start and hoping things will change. It's also pretty scary, right?
Yeah.
It's not that I've lost faith in romance, but I'm definitely more like it takes a lot more work.
It does. It takes a lot of work. And
yeah. I want to know more of your. I'm 26 at this point, all right?
Yeah.
And this guy behind the camera is like 21, all right? So like, you are probably in that stage of like you still want to have fun, but how are you feeling about this now that you know about this information?
See, the thing with me is that I'm not a very casual person.
Okay.
So like that's just the way I've always been. So even if I, go out and look for a relationship, one thing, I don't want to look for a relationship. I don't want to. I call me old fashioned or whatnot, but I kind of want a more organic start.
Yeah, because when people say look for a relationship, it usually means like I don't think you naturally look for it. When we say look, it's more just like putting yourself out there.
Yeah, you put yourself out. Yeah, I get that. I think from and not everyone's gonna agree with this, and I've had my own thoughts about it, but like I think I'd like to be friends with a person first.
Yeah,
and then like them, have them like me back, and then get started into a relationship. Right.
Yeah.
I think that type of organic chemistry that comes about is like what I'd be looking for personally. And then if there's nothing wrong with giving a relationship a trial either. So like like how a new job has like a probation period or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
right. A new job has probation, but in a relationship you're just like wee. Yeah. Like I said, I think however you want to meet, people meet in mysterious ways, but I think the final end goal for you to reach all the way till the end isn't about anything special of how you meet, but it's just whether that person wants to work on it.
Yeah.
And that's like the main thing. Whether you have another builder, literally another Bob the Builder in your life. So that's literally it. Yeah. All right, we'll go to the last story. Like I said, there's 130 fucking comments on this one. Thank you everyone for commenting your stories, and trust me, like me and Uday read everything. We upvoted everything. It's just we can't read everything. There's a lot
seriously,
of stories.
thank you guys. There was so much.
Yeah, so many stories. We're definitely gonna do more. I've already talked to Uday to like we will see what kind of stories. Maybe like what you learn out of a breakup, and it's to show some love. As someone who I feel like with people like me and my friends going through like I would say heartbreak. I don't want to say breakup. Heartbreak. I've realized how intense it can get, and just speaking about it can help a lot. And because everything else is like, if you have a broken bone or whatever, there's a recovery time. But for a heartbreak, it's like, how do you define a recovery time? So that's the scary part, because you don't know when.
Yeah, when it starts to get better.
All right, so let's go to the final story, man. For over a year, I knew my relationship needed to end. Over a year. That's mad, bro. I have a friend who went through the exact same thing. But for over a year, man. That's crazy. I left a handful of times. He left twice, but we always got back together. My brain could clearly see the dysfunction, but my heart loved him more than I loved myself. So I chose to ignore my gut for a very, very, very long time. Oh man. We're going to talk a little bit about this girl's intuition thing. We were compatible on a lot of foundational issues. Our biggest issues were communication, anger, emotion regulation. Wait.
I remember.
I remember the story. Wait. Let me not laugh. Okay, let me not laugh. I'm so sorry. All right, I'm so sorry to OP, but we were compatible. Oh, I feel so bad. We were compatible on a lot of foundational issues. Our biggest issues were communication, anger, emotion regulation, invalidation, avoidance, and sex.
I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
I'm so sorry.
It's just that I don't mean to question.
I don't mean to question compatibility.
Right.
But I think you've just said everything about your compatibility is bad.
Okay, this is gonna no.
Yeah, okay, I'll continue the story. On their own, all of these things are solvable, but together, they created a really, really daunting challenge for us. Oh, okay. Maybe I kind of get it, but okay. We tried individual and couples counseling. Great. I tried switching medications in hope to improve my libido. He exercised an extreme amount of patience while I battled with my avoidant nature, and I forgave so much of his anger and invalidation. We each broke the other's trust. The police were involved more than once. It was truly a shit show. My therapist helped me to see that it was a trauma bond that was keeping me from leaving for good. Every time we got back together, then ensued the love bombing stage. I was fully addicted to this, as well as the hope that we could eventually break out of that cycle. Both of us made considerable strides towards the goal, which sadly didn't receive enough recognition from the other. In the end, I realized how much I needed to be single to become the person he needed, so I ended things for good. Unfortunately, I didn't clearly articulate this realization to him. Our closure conversations were just toned down versions of our typical arguments. You did this, and I didn't like it. That's your perspective, not reality. All I'm hearing for you is negativity while I'm the one carrying this relationship. XYZ is what I need, but it sounds like you're not willing/able to give that. Now we've been broken up for 2 months and have chosen to go no contact, which sucks. This time apart has allowed me to process things and to understand more about myself and the relationship. There are things I would love to say to him in hopes that it would facilitate his healing. I just have to accept that he's taking care of himself. Yeah, bah.
That was, I mean, like, it's just another one of those, yeah, this sucks and is tough, but like, I mean, it sounds, the ending was far more positive.
Mm.
Yeah. I think I also kind of got what she meant, or this person meant with the foundational stuff. It's just the way it was like, the way I read it the first time was just like, yeah, I was just confused because what other foundational stuff is left?
Yeah, I think this would be a good way to end this last story, because what I said to OP was, that is the hardest fact, right? Taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is actually the way to have an amazing partner. Taking care of themselves is the way for you to have an amazing partner. We will all have our levels of hurt, but only 2 whole people can make a lasting relationship. It's not about making each other whole. Having a partner is a plus, not a need. I am glad you're making the time to heal, and when the next one comes, let's all remind ourselves of our standards again. That's something that I'm going to repeat for myself as well. Let's remind ourselves of our standards again when we're in another relationship. We are humans, we tend to forget. Stand firm, because ironically, only then we also get a partner that would stand firm and have a brighter future for ourselves. Yeah, and the OP replied with, the idea of finding your other half has been so romanticized, especially for women. Which is so true. Like, you're always talking about, I get the ideas, like when you have one person, half full, yeah, but you have to be a full person before you.
Yeah, I think it's more like a relationship is 2 halves to make one whole, right? But those halves individually need to be
like
full,
people.
Full people. Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So
exactly.
you can't. Yeah.
Because it's just too romanticized, right? Like finding your other half, finding your soulmate, finding that like life goal partner. At the end of the day, like people are people, man. No matter how amazing they are as people, how can they be that amazing anyway? You know?
Yeah,
In a
everyone's
relationship.
flawed.
Everyone's flawed. So like
Everyone's flawed.
you just gotta look at them as a partner, like as a teammate, as a manager, another manager in your life, you know? It's sort of like I told you, right, about the story with the notebook. Everyone sort of romanticized the notebook and the Titanic for a little bit. And then you realize like this notebook guy is fucking toxic, but he was basically trying to kill himself if he didn't get a date while this girl already had a boyfriend. And then they dated for a while. They kept becoming toxic. He broke up with her, and then she was like, "Get out! I hate you! I hate you!" And he actually left, right? And she's like, "You're not actually leaving, are you?" And then she ends up marrying another guy, and this guy started building a house. This guy started to build a house for this woman who is married in hopes that she would come back. She saw this, they hooked up, and then she was like, "I can't, I'm married." And then he's like, "What do you want? What do you want?" So like, I think we romanticize the highs of the highs, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's work.
Yeah,
it is work.
It is work.
It
It's
is work.
It's work.
You know, it doesn't feel that good. And then with the Titanic as well, like I said, the divorce lawyer was like, everybody looks up to that kind of love, but do you think I always forget the name. What's the name of the two of them? Jack and
Rose.
Jack and Rose, right? Do you think if both of them were still alive, Rose would be like, "Oh yeah," after 10 years, and then Rose would be like, "Oh, keep drawing your French girls, Jack. Get a fucking job." You know what I mean? Like, there's so much reality behind all these things that it's like, it's both, right? I'm not saying don't have romance, but have both. There's the reality side of things, and there's also the romance side of things. And we can get so caught up with the romance that I just want to end it off with, ironically enough, I would have never said this. I told you before last week as well. The number one marriage or relationship that I look up to the most right now are my parents, which is crazy for me to say, coming from an Asian family and someone who's growing up in a little bit more of a, I guess, Western society. Now that I'm seeing my parents, right, even though they were kind of an arranged marriage kind of thing, but just to see them being able to raise me and 4 other boys in such a healthy way, and always bringing us to meet other family members, bringing us to our uncles, cousins, and then taking care of our financial needs, taking care of our food. And I still see them till today. Sometimes when I'm walking beside my mom, I like to hold my mom's hand, but sometimes I'll let go, and then my dad will just come up and then hold her hand. And that's coming from like a relationship that was sort of arranged, and they weren't like crazy romanticized, and they still want to hold hands like that, and they're still partners till today. And there's still moments where like, not they hate each other, but they're like, "Look at your mom again," you know, like that kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like that's the end goal, you know, because the end goal is never too romanticized, but it's realistic, and it's 2 people who are willing to work together and grow together. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So to everyone going through a breakup, and to the thread that we have made that's about what's a breakup that you knew had to happen, I am sending all my love and prayers for everyone out there. Just know that I don't want to say the cliche thing that it will get better, because I think it comes up to you have to get your life better. You know, I believe the world is kind enough that once you put your work in, then your life will get better. It doesn't just naturally get better, you know? Because I believe no matter how sad you are, no matter how bad your situation is, you will have the energy to get out there to do the work, and then you get better. So to everyone out there, wish you all the best, all the prayers and love from the Hey Hammy Show, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.